Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. As we close out the end of 1981, now's your chance to let me know which games we have not played so they don't get missed. Let's now go back to the last game we played, which is the very first talking adventure game we've ever checked out. Let's move on to our next game. It's time to go to the Creativision again by VTech. The console that I wish I knew more about and could get my hands on one. It is very impressive for all the other consoles we've seen up to this point. And this is Tank Attack. Let's take a look at the box for Tank Attack. Creativision's going for the let's pretend to be Atari, kind of like Intellivision does. Their artwork is still really good for the time. And if we flip it over on the back, they give you an example screenshot of the game with the system itself. This one is a bizarre system. The controllers combine together to make a full keyboard. So you don't just have a number pad. You can see back here, the keyboard or the controller has the entire keyboard on the joystick below it. So way more than 9 keys down there. So for other artwork, the front of the box is pretty cool. It's like a letting you know you are going to play a tank game, but a really good one. As a commander, like you're Patton in control of all the tanks. And there's our overlay that we're going to put over the controllers. You can see we have laying mines, which is taking a big part of the overlay. And then your fire buttons are on the side. And then start button are where the usual start buttons are for the Creativision. So just bear that in mind. We have a manual also for this one. Let's check it out for Tank Attack on the Creativision. The cartridge instructions. Good choice. You've just opened one of the most skillful video games in the world. Creativision's Tank Attack. You're a tank commander engaged in battle to the death with another tank commander. It's got to be like combat, right? Same weapons, you have to have superior skill to win the day. Besides the enemy tanks, there's also other dangers to contend with that can be hidden minefields you'll never see until it's too late. The terrain itself can prove deadly. You can fall into deep water or the river and could be the end of you. In addition to that, the treacherous enemy can switch tanks and attack from a completely different direction with no warning. There's many obstacles on the battleground, such as buildings, trees, and river, all of which can be used for defense and to help in your attack. When you lay mines, keep in mind they are invisible. Try to remember where they are so you don't run into them yourself. That's pretty cool. So you have the strategy to lay an invisible mine. Remember where you laid it, because you'll know when you push the button, but the other person won't. And then they do this kind of cool, that whenever you're ready to play the game, they explain how to plug in and set up the game, but they always have it something like you're getting ready to play that specific game. So they call this the pre-battle check. Make sure the power cord's plugged in, TV set's plugged in, main unit power switch, tank attack cartridge inserted. Good, now you're prepared. Move to the main power switch to on. Tank attack should appear on your screen in demonstration mode, and most of the games are very arcade-like, so it's more like an attract mode of an arcade cabinet. And then you slide that overlay over your controller. I mean, look at all those buttons. One controller has a half of a keyboard, basically. And then similar to Atari's system, the VCS, you push reset on the main unit and then decide what kind of the variation you want to play. It looks like this one has 15 different variations. You move the joystick to move your tank, and we've seen lots of different tank controls on the channel. So I'm curious to see what the Creativision is going to have. If you see the joystick, it's pretty like a stubby-looking joystick. More reminiscent to something you have on a home computer rather than a console, if you're thinking of the Atari VCS. When you have the enemy tank lined up, press the fire button. Those are the ones on your side of the controller. Watch your shot hit the enemy and explode in a burst of fire and smoke. After you've hit him 10 times, his tank will explode and disintegrate. So that's, I guess, 10 lives each, and you can also lay mines. The lay mine area on your battle grid, that's what they're calling the overlay, I guess. You have 3 seconds to move away before the mine comes active, so don't wait around. And then you can also switch tanks. Some battles, you have 2 different tanks. You can move back and forth. Nice feature there. Love it. And then choose your battle. All tank battles are 2-player battles, which means we cannot play this alone. Sadly, I'm not here with a guest, so we'll have to plug in a second controller. I'll have that one ready on our Creativision. And here's the different options we have. It doesn't do what Atari does and give you a grid so you can go right to the kind of game variation you want, but it's still good enough. Battle number 1 means it's just bare bones. 2 tanks, you just drive and shoot. No mines. And then the other one, you have 3 tanks. You can operate 1 at a time. No mines. 5 tanks. So I guess that's how many lives or how many times you'll die. And then for Battle 4, you can switch between different tanks. So there's going to be 2 on the battlefield at the same time. No mines. And then as we go through, it just adds different variations, like adding the ability to lay invisible mines or not. Let's see if it has anything else. Fighting gets complicated by Adventure 9. 2 switchable tanks. Mines are everywhere. Oh, okay, so not only are you have the ability to lay mines, some of the game variations have invisible mines on the battlefield, which I don't know if that'd be fun. I guess it's an even playing field, but it does add the randomness to the game because you could just be playing as normal and then blow up yourself because you don't know where the mines are. So 15 different game variations. Anything else different to say? Looks like we can lay 8 mines in one variation. Now, every one of these variations we've seen lots of tank games. And the mechanics that they're talking about for this game is not new. So they are incorporating a lot of variations. The most recent one I can think of was Armor Battle for the Intellivision. That's kind of similar to these mechanics. The laying of mines ahead of time, I think that one would be a new feature, but not super impressive. All right, so the versions we have is depending on what region you're playing in. We're going to go to the region where we can read the text if there is any. Let's pop in the cartridge and play some Tank Attack. Released at some point in 1981 for the Creativision. Yeah, you didn't miss much. We're now on the next game, which is Tank Attack for the Creativision. As usual, when we boot the game up, it goes into this attract mode, or they call it demonstration mode. And whenever we're ready, we push reset on the console and then decide what game mode we want to play. Let's start with the first game mode. So I'm going to hit the start button. It gives us a little ditty. Now I'm controlling the top left tank. Controls are tank controls. So we take the joystick, we move left and right. It swivels the tank left and right. And then when we push forward on the tank, it moves the tank forward, regardless of what direction we are. And then, yep, fire attacks. Looks like we don't have super long range, but like I said before, it's only a one-player game, so I'm having to control the 2 joysticks at the same time. So there's the second player. Goes in for an attack. Wait, it didn't die. How many shots? Oh, okay. So I guess in game mode 1, you just, every time you hit someone, you get a point. But that's not super intuitive because, look, if you don't move, if you have a really slow brother or sister, they're just going to continue to rack up points while you sit there. Yeah, the graphics are very impressive, really similar to Armor Battle we've seen on the Intellivision. And I like how the area doesn't look like it's tile-based. Like you can see the earth and the river look like it's something that was drawn in for. So really impressive. All right, let's push reset, try a different game mode. This time let's go to, you can see now all this does, 2 and 3 are adding lives. So whenever you die, it shows that how many tank is left. So let's push reset on this one. Should be the same controls we had before. Oh wait, sorry, let me go back. Keep going. There, 3, then start it up. Gotta make sure you push the right button on the joystick. Okay, so now I'm in the top left as the black tank. Coming to the end, I'm gonna see if I can meet in the middle. What happens if I go in the water? Does it work? Oh, you lose the tank. Okay, you lose a life. And it's keeping track of your lives right next to the corner you start in. So black tank has 4 lives left. Blue tank has all 5. So that means, I guess there's pitfalls too, right? I gotta be careful how I move across this side and not fall into one of the holes. Yeah, the area we're playing in is really impressive. It looks really nice for the time. So I'm still not killing the... Oh, okay, so the points you get is how many shots you connect with an enemy. But the lives is if you just make a mistake, either blowing yourself up with a mine or falling into a pit. Is that what this is here? Oh, I guess it's not a pit. Maybe, oh, it's a shadow. It's the tree shadow. It looks pretty cool with the tank on the side. Okay, let's reset again, try another game variation. And this time, let's go back to the manual. Let's try something different. Interesting. 15 different game variations. So now, if you do game variation 4, this one is you can switch tanks at will, so it gives you more than 1 tank. And then 5 is switching tanks, 4 battlefields to conquer. Okay, let's try version 5. Oh, nice. So it's going to change up the battlefield, change a few, remove some things on the background, and so forth. So let's start this one up. Now we get to switch back and forth between 2 different tanks. Oh, so cool. So yeah, I can push the button to switch to a different tank and you control one at a time, basically. Which, this is a mechanic, again, that's not new. We've seen this before from another game. But having all these elements together in one is really nice. And again, all you gotta do is make contact and attack. Now, combat is not the first tank variation, but combat was the one for the BCS when it was released in '77. And they did something smart where whenever you got the point against the other player, then you reset. It moved you to another area of the map. But here, no, if you're not moving, you can just continue to sit there and rack up points playing as the other person. So I don't think there's mines in this one. Let's try a different one. Let's hit reset again. Going for another variation. This one has 15. You can see it's changing up the map. Adding buildings, removing buildings, adding trees, and so forth. So cool. Yeah, this is great for the time. Okay, so let's do game mode 12. This one should have the mine ability. And starting this one up. Yeah, so the terrain can pop in and out, and they add a few things back and forth between which game variation you're in. Nice. There we go. I'm surprised I haven't been blown up by a mine. I guess it's not around as much. And the way the game controls is very easy. It's simple to work out, considering all the other tank games we played. Yep, moving the joystick up and down moves your tank forward and back, and then left and right turns. Now, it would be a little difficult for people that aren't familiar with relative controls. Like, for example, I'm facing the bottom. If I turn the joystick to the right... Wait. Oh... If I turn the joystick to the right, it's not going to turn it to the right because you're upside down. You have to pretend you're in the tank, making the control change. All right, so let's check out another game mode. I'm going to reset again, and let's go to number 15. Now, I like the idea that as you play, they said that the terrain's going to change in the middle of it. So while you're playing, if you beat up your friend and you move to the next level, it actually builds a new map for you, and then you get to play on a new map. 4 or 5 different maps will go through, and that'll determine who is the champion of Tank Attack. Oh man, yeah, this will be a blast to play. It does not have any artificial intelligence, so you have to have 2 people to play. But with lots of game variations, it's really fun. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so Tank Attack for the time is, I would say, considering the other games we've seen for the Creativision, it doesn't really. If you think of consoles, it is very good for a console. But the other tank games would be the Atari VCS. The ones we've seen for the Mattel and Television, the Magnavox Odyssey, they all have tank games, and some of them have some variations, but this one incorporates a lot of different ones, and the 2-player simultaneous. So I'm going to say this is one of the best games that you could play for a home console, especially if you want a tank game. It's really good. So I'm going to say 4.5 stars for Tank Attack. One of the best games for a home console. All right, so let's move on and see our next game. After Tank Attack, where are we going now? Oh, it's time to go all the way to New Zealand and check out another game for it called Tank, version 1.0 for the Aamber Pegasus. Let's take a look at the artwork. We have the front, and this one is on EEPROM. So some people have taken the liberty to make their own fan art for it. Like, this box isn't the actual scanned-in box. They made their own to look similar to what you would have seen at the time. That's why it looks too crisp. And the same for the chip. Never would have looked that good. But just an idea of what we're looking at. So from one tank game to another, we're going to a home computer, and this one's going to be a little bit different. No manual like we did, not the same presentation, but let's go to New Zealand and play the Aamber Pegasus. This is by Nigel Curran. Way to go, Nigel. At some point in 1981, we got Tank version 1.0. All right, so what do we want? We want load that tank game. Oh, it loaded a different version. Okay, so I actually loaded version 1.2. That's funny. Okay, so the way it works is I'm not familiar with any joystick for the Aamber Pegasus. So this is going to be all keyboard, going to use my fingers. And whenever you want to control, you can actually do both tanks at the same time. So if I want to move, like, for example, the tank in the bottom right corner, this is me swiveling it around. And then the same for the other side. I can be moving and adjusting both tanks at the same time. So really cool if you had a buddy, you can sit down next to the computer, one person controls one side, the other player controls the other side. So I'm kind of in the same boat I was on the Creativision because I didn't have anybody with me this evening. But whenever you want to move and shoot, you have to know which keyboard commands will work. And let's see if we can go make my way around. And don't adjust your sound. There is no sound for tank on the Aamber Pegasus. Can we get a shot in? No, can't get a shot in there. I wonder why. But you make your way around the battlefield. What you're seeing here is the only screen that you can play on. And it's kind of cool with the perspective because it's not a perfectly top-down game. It's giving you kind of a faux 3D effect, almost like you're playing with a couple of your toy tanks inside of a matchbox or something like that. And you make your way around the maze, get to your partner and try to blow them up. And then down at the bottom of the screen, it's giving you your score, and kind of like a tug of war way of doing the score. So every time you make a point, you get an extra tank on the side. Yeah, I don't know if I could call it isometric or diametric, but the it's doing something different. So I like it though. It's awesome. All right, so let's make our way around, shoot our way through here. Can we shoot that one? Nice, there we go. And then wiggle our way through. Nope, keep wiggling that way. Go this way. There we go. And you notice there's a little bit of flicker on the side. Not sure if that's because of the emulation or whenever you're playing the game, that's what happened. Because every time I do a command, it gives the tanks a little bit of a flicker for some reason. Yeah, this one takes a lot to get used to with controls. We went from a home console that had a joystick control for the tank with a familiar control scheme to a home computer that's using a keyboard that most people wouldn't be familiar with unless you had the Aamber Pegasus in front of you. So you can see how I'm very cumbersomely trying to make my way through. It also, whenever you turn the tank, it doesn't swivel on the same place. It's redrawing the swivel in a different spot. So a little bizarre there. But you have to think of yourself as 1981. This game comes out in New Zealand. You have your computer at home. If you and a buddy had this game, you would have had a blast. All right, so that was Tank. Version 1.0, or I believe we booted at 1.2, but Tank for the Aamber Pegasus of the time is considered, I would say, not something that would be one of the better games you could play. Graphically, it's awesome. I like the idea of having to wind your way through a maze, get through obstacles to get to your enemy or friend and shoot them up. But if you think of all the other Tank games we played on the home computer, it's still considered around the average range. The control scheme is really, really cumbersome. If you were more used to the Aamber Pegasus keyboard, I could kind of give it to you, but I could not push 3 keys at once. So whenever you wanted to move, if you and your buddy were moving your tank and firing at the same time, that'd be 4 key presses, and I don't think it would work. So I can imagine people were smashing the keyboard quite a bit back then. But I'm still going to give it 3 stars for the time, a perfectly average game considering everything else on the computer. Yeah, I agree with you there, L. Curtis B. All right, let's move forward and see our next game.
Something is happening out there.
Here we go. This is Tanktics for the Apple II. Let's check out Tanktics.
Something is happening out there.
Starting with the box. This one is a massive box. Front of it tells you, oh yeah, it's microcomputer games. It's time to get some strategy on. If you flip it over, you're like, oh my gosh, that box is massive. Yeah, it's pretty thick. This is originally a game that was made by, I believe, Chris Crawford, one of his first games that he did in the mid-'70s, but he did it for mainframes, like the Kim 11 mainframe computer, and it was known as Wargy at the time. So we didn't see Wargy on the channel because we didn't do any mainframe games, but just so you know, the idea is not new. This has been around for quite a bit of time. So Tanktics, computer game of armored combat on the Eastern Front. They give you some historical background. This box includes a 2-piece full-color 22x16 map board, a 240 counters, 5 different scenarios, the instruction booklet, and the cassette. We do not have the instruction booklet, and I'll explain why in a sec. Tanktics is a simulation of armored war combat on the Eastern Front during World War II. So this is a World War II simulation, well, tactical game, tactical strategy game. If we see the other artwork, you'll see what I mean. Now, this is an example of the manual. The front of the manual shows that it's going to be a simulated armor combat for the Eastern Front. And then this gives you an example of what kind of commands you're going to be doing in the game, because you're going to be trolling tanks, believe it or not, from either the German or Russian side. And then this is what you would have cut out when you got it in the box. These are all the small pieces because this game is a hybrid board game and video game. And that's how it was back on the mainframe system. You didn't play it just on the computer. You had to have the board. And look at that. You had the map of the whole grid and nothing is being drawn. There is no graphics on the screen. We're doing everything in text on the computer game. You would have to keep track of the board, and the computer game is telling you move from, what is that, Y24 to Z12, and you follow along with the pieces that you've cut out on the board while you're playing the game simultaneously. And I guess that means that whenever we pop in and play this game, we're not going to really be able to do it justice because we don't have the board in front of us. This requires, kind of like going back to the 70s whenever we played the Magnavox Odyssey. They had pieces and cards that went with the console, and we couldn't really play the game as if you were at that time, so that'd be the same with Tanktics, or as it was known in the mid-70s, Wargy. So whatever your flavor, let's pop in and check out a little bit of Tanktics, released at some point in 1981. Now, this isn't the first version. There was another one on Commodore PET that I couldn't pin down, but I just know that it's been around since the mid-70s, and before this one, there was another home computer that had it, but I wanted to showcase it on the Apple II, because this is another game that we really can't play. We need a board to play it. But if you did boot it up, you'll see what happens. Let's fast forward this sucker. There we go. Now, we don't have the manual, but we can get the gist. What scenario? We'll do scenario number 1. How many tanks do I want? Oh, I want a bunch. Give me 9. Can I do 9? How about 6? 6. So I get 12 tanks? Wait, no, that's not fair. What type of tank A? Now, if you remember the commands, it would tell you whatever number you pick is the kind of tanks you want to have. So if we were wanting to be on the German side, we'd be picking like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think. And then the type of their tanks would be, if they were going to be Russian tanks, they would be 6. Oh, okay. So they were going to be all one type of tank. And then if you speed it up, crank up the fast forward, now it begins the game. And ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the game. Kind of reminiscent of if we were going to play this on the mainframe computer. You select what tank you want, you say where it's going to move, and then it gives you the outcome. It only does the computations on the computer. You have to still be moving the pieces on your board and keeping track of them. Now, bearing that in mind, while we're not playing mainframe games, this feels a lot like we're playing a mainframe game. But this is it. I'm not going to continue to play any more of the game, but that's what you would do. And now you can see a good context of strategy games because we've seen SSI give you the whole map of the game, even scrolling on the game for strategy games. And this one's harking back to its roots, playing on a board and having the computer doing only the computations. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a subpar rating, and I'm basing this a little bit on the rating system of what other people had said in Computer Gaming Monthly. So 2.5 stars for Tanktics. It is a subpar game of all the games you could play up to this point. Even if you had the map, I mean, it's kind of like you're in the middle of, do I want to play a game or do I want to play a board game? And the people that want to play a board game, they still were enjoying computer games that had displayed the full hex grid on the screen. All right, so that was Tanktics. And let's press forward and see our next game. It's the VIC-20, and this is 10-pin bowls. Let's check out 10-pin bowls, a game that has no box that we couldn't find, just a few screenshots. Let's pop in and play 10-pin bowls, released at some point in 1981 by Vicsoft. Yeah, is it really a computer game if you need a board game to play? I'm kind of on the fence with that, but we did start in 1971 when we checked out the Magnavox Odyssey, the first Odyssey that came out, and I wasn't able to play them completely then either. All right, so what do we want to do? Hit return to continue. Please press shift and run stop keys simultaneously. All right, shift, run stop. What, it's going to load again? I've never seen this on the VIC-20 before. It found 10-pin bowls. That's good. Do we want instructions? Yeah, we do. You have 5 balls per frame. If all Skittles are knocked down with 3 balls, a bonus 10 points are added to your score. This has got to be from Europe. Press spacebar to continue. Unless they just call pin Skittles then. Press spacebar to release the ball down the alley. Press spacebar to continue. Which one do you want to play? 3 is the fastest, so let's go fast. 1 or 2 players. I am solo, so playing by myself. It's a bowling game, but what kind? Oh, okay, so it's the timing kind of bowling game. Can you push it at the right time? That's got to be it, right? Oh, so not there. Doesn't think it's following the same physics of a bowling game. Oh, and speed may not be the ball going down. I bet speed is just how fast it moves up and down. So very reminiscent of what we played on the Atari 800 bowling and the Atari VCS bowling, but doesn't compare to Intellivision bowling. But that again is comparing computers to consoles. But this is it. You want to play some bowling on your VIC-20? It's more of how good can you time the spacebar click? Which is funny because it's going to be reminiscent of playing other sports games like golf. If you have the timing down, if you can hit the button at just the right moment, then you're going to be the pro. Not necessarily like you're skilled the best. You just know exactly when to hit the button. Okay, I think we've seen enough. There's 10-pin bowls. Of the games we played at the time, it's actually around the typical bowling game, if you wanted to think of all the bowling games we played, but graphically it's not the best, and it's just really simple. Kind of like when we played the MS-DOS game Donkey, all you were doing was just pushing one button to make something happen. So it's really not a lot to not a lot of engagement or gameplay. So I'm going to say 2 stars for 10-pin bowls. If you're hard pressed for a bowling game on the VIC-20 in 1981, though, it'd be all right. It'd be okay. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. We're next going back to the Creativision, and this is tennis. Yes, we saw a video of it on the background here. If you see the video, they're playing several of the games that are on. Well, this is the Dick Smith Wizard, but there it is. There is tennis. No, wait, no. That was the other systems. That's the tennis. So they're comparing the 3 different tennis games in that commercial. And I believe that was, yeah, Activision's tennis, which we've already seen that one. And what was the first one? Let me see. First one was, okay, and they're comparing tennis like on the VCS, which is pretty much Pong. All right, let's check out the box for tennis on the Creativision. Very nice. Looks like oil painted front of the box, going for a really nice aesthetic, just like Atari's. Looks good. Flip it over on the back, and they have an example of the screenshot. It looks kind of washed out, which is funny. And then an example of the system, just like everything else for the Creativision. If the name Creativision doesn't sound familiar, this had several different names all over the globe. So if you're watching this in other regions, and you play the game and realize, oh, that looks, I've seen this game before, it may have been labeled something different, like Dick Smith Wizard. Let's check out the other artwork we have for tennis. It's got to be 1981 when the games have one name. You can call it just tennis. We've already played several games with just the title of tennis. There's our overlay. We're going to slide over the controller, and I think it's pretty simple. Yeah, it's why have the overlay? The serve buttons are on the side of your controller, and then the start button's over there. Yeah, the front does look like a movie poster, and we've seen a couple games that do that. They just say, let's not even make it like a game. Let's make it exactly like a movie poster. All right, let's check out the manual for tennis. How do you play some tennis? At least on the Creativision, I'd be curious to know. By VTech. Now you can learn the strategies and tactics of one of the world's most popular sports without leaving your own living room with the amazingly true to life. Wait, what? With the amazingly true to life? Okay. You can play at any level of skill you desire, from novice right up to World Cup matches, with friends or by yourself with a cunning Creativision computer. Creativision has designed the ultimate video tennis game. The players are realistic and move all around the court. The ball follows the trajectories it would during a real game. We'll be the judge of that. You can also place your shots or play up court or back. You can develop your own style and strategies in the comfort of your own living room. Then use them to devastating effect on the real court. But watch out, because the game is so true to life, you will hit as many balls out of bounds and into the net as you would in a real game. Uh-oh, that means there's going to be errors or problems. And there's our game pre-game warm-up. Make sure that television is plugged in. Slide your overlay over your Creativision controller. Cover all those buttons that you're never going to use, at least on this one. And then push reset, and you're ready to see. This one has 16 different game variations. To score, simply move the joystick on the hand controller in the hand control in the direction you wish to your player go, and then move lifelike in any direction on the court. To hit the ball, your player will automatically turn and hit the ball. Wait, what? Your only worry is to get him in that position. Wait, there's no button to hit the ball? I think that's like Activision's. It had the same thing. You just move and then it does it for you. Your players will automatically move to the serve position. All you need to do is press the serve button on your hand controller. So if it's 2 players, red player is left, always serves first, and they even have handicaps. So you can have people, I guess, move slower. Let's see what it says for handicap. 1 player game. No, it doesn't say if you move slow or not. You'll just get a handicap if you want to play. So we got 16 different game variations. We will come back to the manual to check those out once we pop it in. And the other versions are all the other regions for tennis. But we'll play the one that we can read. Let's pop in the cartridge and play some tennis for your VTech Creativision, released at some point in 1981. There it is. Very nice. Looks really similar to Intellivision, right? Or at least the views there. Maybe it's probably not as complicated, though. No, actually, Intellivision was side view. Yeah, I did the 2 side view. This is more like a view of tennis we're used to seeing. It's more modern, believe it or not. All right, so I'm not playing anything at all. I just wanted to check it out to see what it's like. They have stick figures that are moving. Extremely lifelike for 1981. Let's see how it plays. Let's push reset, and we're going to go with the game mode that I can play. We'll play against the computer to see what they're like. So going back to the manual, and go to our different versions where we got it. Okay, so it starts with 2 players for match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5 is 1 player. Expert players, no handicaps. Let's do that. We're expert players here. Game mode 5. So switching it up, game mode 5, and go. And is this licensed by Wimbledon? It's brazened in the back, Wimbledon Championship, to make you feel like you're a real tennis player. So all I had to do was push 1 button on the side of my joystick, and now all I do is move my player. I'm not even in control of the ball or what happens. Let's see. Can I make a decision? No. All I'm doing is moving in the right spot, and then it works. Oh man, I don't know if this is going to be like Activision. When we played it, we just went on a standstill back and forth and didn't make any progress because there wasn't anything programmed into how to make better or different shots. But think how far we've come. Since the beginning of the channel, tennis was essentially Pong, where 2 blips or 2 dashes were moving back and forth on the screen. Can I move up? Let's see. Oh, he's lobbing. Oh, it went over my head. And now we have moving characters on a tennis court. From a perspective that is something we're familiar with. Can I get it? No, you can't jump up and get it. And then we switch sides. Oh, we do. So he's going to serve toward me. Oh, no, it's still at the bottom. Okay. Yeah, so you have a certain speed you can move, but then after that, that's if you can't get to the ball, then you're not going to get it. All right, let's reset again. Let's try a different game mode, going back to the manual. So glad we got the manual to see what the game variations are. Let's see, we got 2-player mode for game 9. Fast action, and so it's changing the different speeds of everything, how many players are playing, and then handicaps. So this is 2-player... super fast World Cup mode. That's what I want to see. What's the super fast mode for 1 player? Super fast action, 1 player. Okay, so you can even handicap the computer. The single player and the computer are handicapped. So if we do 16, I wonder if that's like a kid mode. Let's try game mode 16 and see if it makes the computer slow. And go. Give us a nice little ditty before we play. Yeah, the viewpoint is so modern. Now, Intellivision was really impressive with how you could play it, though. They had a lot more options. Oh, now we're getting fast. A lot more options on where you place the ball and hit the ball, and you had to use the overlay for your benefit. This one, the overlay is kind of pointless. You put it over on the sides, but all you got to do is push the button on the side. You don't even need any of the keys in front. Oh, it still got me. But look how quick it is. Similar to the different game modes we played on the VCS with Activision. Oh, see, now I don't know how you could change it from hitting the net unless you make sure your racket's in the right spot. Yeah, see, that's how I'm trying to make sure the ball is hit directly on the racket to make sure it always goes over. And it looks like the computer is lobbing every single time. Well, you saw in the commercial from Australia the comparison of the different consoles, and those are the games we've seen before on tennis, but you know what they didn't compare? It was Intellivisions. Intellivisions, as usual, is extremely complicated, gets endorsed by a major sports company. I actually don't remember what it was at the top of my head, but this one plays great. Would love to play with 2 people, and it should be loads of fun. Oh, do we get into... me? I'm not moving at all. I'm just staying right here, and did we... So I would say it does look good, and it does play well, but the way it's programmed is similar to Activision's. It's not really super intuitive because you don't have a lot of control over what the ball is going to do or what's going to happen. You just have to walk in the right spot. Good for beginners, good to pick up and play. Intellivision would have the more complicated controls or a more impressive tennis match, but this one is still loads of fun for 1981. Very cool. All right, so that was tennis. I really enjoy it. So for all the games we played up to this point, it is still a really good game for a console and one of the best tennis, not one of the best tennis games you could play because, let me think. Yeah, it would be one of the best tennis games you could play. I'll still give it a solid 4 stars for all the games we played up to this point. Excellent. Yeah, you're not really able to do different kinds of shots because all you do is move your character and then automatically hits the ball for you. So depending on how you make contact with the ball, just by moving the joystick, that determines your shot. So there's no way to lob or things like that. It's pretty simple, but that's usual for the time. The only exception is the tennis on Intellivision. All right, so with that, let's press forward and see our next game. It's time to go to the arcade, and this is Terranean. Let's check out Terranean, starting with the advertisement flyer. This is a real treat. This is the deco cassette, like whenever you bought it from Data East. In the sleeve, this would be what you would see for Terranean in Japan. And there's the advertisement flyer. That was around, don't believe this is the, yeah, this is for the Northwest, not the Japanese advertisement flyer. To defend Terra. Terranean, wait, it's not Terranean. 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 You're commanded to defend Terra from alien attack. All right, so it's a space game. How do you play Terranean? Well, it says down below, but it's kind of hard to see. There's an example of the arcade cabinet. The arcade is using the deco cassette system, so the overlay around the outside and the control panel are going to be the same for most of the games. The draw behind it is if you bought this one cabinet, all you had to do was buy the cassette tape, and you could switch out and have another arcade game playing in the same arcade cabinet. Way better than doing upgrades or buying a whole nother cabinet. And there it is. There's the example of the deco cassette system. Has the several different PCBs and knows when to switch between them, and then the cassette tape is in that little black slot we see in front. So there's our control panel for the deco cassette. Looks like controls are going to be left, right, and fire. I don't believe it's going to use all of the 8-way joystick. There's our arcade marquee. Terranean. Terran? Or Terranean? I'm not going to think too hard on it. Terranean. Let's go to the arcades and play some Terranean. Released at some point in 1981 in Japan. Oh, and I forgot, it's deco. So we got to speed this sucker up. So let me load it a different way to make sure we can get through quickly. Hitting the fast forward to get to the game faster. We'll crank this sucker up to about 600% faster than you would have had to load, but you'd have to wait for the game to boot up. At least for the very first time. And then most of the time, arcade systems, they just stayed on all the time. Really enjoy the artwork around the sides. This is what you see on the arcade cabinet. And we're not going to be seeing a lot more from the Data East side. There we go. We are in Defend Terra. Let's check out some of the attract mode of Terranean. Got some really nice scroll going on in the background. No way, is that Darth Vader's head as the mystery points? This is all still attract mode, so fighting start. Looks like the ship we're going to be playing is going to be at the bottom of the screen, and move left, right, and fire. That's a cool idea. It's making the enemies farther behind in the distance, and they come at you closer. So it looks like we're just defending Earth. Not Terranean, it's Earth. I want to see that other bonus points we got for this one. So 20 points, 30 points, and per ring remaining it into pattern. Okay, let's put a coin in. Looks good enough. We'll put our money in here and push and start. Nice opening, love it. Whoa, wait. So I have a primary shot. Oh, I got the bonus ship. The Darth Vader ship. The primary shot allows me to shoot... Is that 2 shots at once? Yeah, it does. Nice. And then I'm loading up a missile. I hope it didn't blow up Earth. At the bottom, there's a silo, and if you move over it, it loads that missile onto your ship, and you have a second, like, super missile shot that you can use. I wonder how many of those I get. Oh, it didn't make any contact, so it did nothing. But I think if you hit more, then it clears away the screen for us. Wow, that's cool. They're morphing into comets. Wow. Play control is excellent. It feels really good with the double shot for a fixed shooter. Can we get him? No, I missed it again. It looks like we just have infinite... Yeah, as long as you can keep loading up, they'll keep coming. Oh, whoa. Okay, so you have to defend Terra. If you let Terra explode or too many enemies surround it, then it blows up, it looks like. Animation is really good for the time. Every one of the shooters we've checked out since January... Oh, I missed him! has just gotten slightly better and better. So cool. Really excited for 1982 and seeing how the evolution just gets better. Play control wise, graphics, music, sound. Oh, I missed? How did I miss that guy? Oh, man. Let's go one more time. I want to see if there's another game variation. We didn't have a manual, so we don't know if this is the only thing you'll see for the game or if it goes to something else. So let's put another coin in. Let's use all of our yen lunch money, because we're in Japan, to play Terranean. Oh, that was close. Let's see if we can make a... Yeah, so hitting it on the planet doesn't do anything. I gotta make sure I make contact. Oh, man. I'm trying my best to use that second missile and realizing I'm not paying attention to the other enemies that swarm around me. And it's giving me a pretty generous amount of lives whenever we play. Alright, can we make contact? Get him. Yeah, they're getting slowly closer and closer, and you gotta get there before they reach the belt around it. Enemies switch up for us. Nice. There's also been this slow morphing of scrolling happening in the arcades, where we began with games like Galaxian, with the colored star field that slowly scrolls in the background, and now we're getting stars getting a little bit bigger, or maybe constellations come and scroll by, and then we're getting objects like planets that start scrolling by, and the scroll just gets just slightly more impressive, and eventually we're going to get... We've already seen games that are pretty much resembling a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, and it's just slow bleed of that graphic change. Yeah, so maybe we try with the missile detonation. Let's go another coin in and push and start. Or maybe we gotta shoot it ourselves with the secondary fire. Let's try it. Yeah, it is. Oh, good call, L. Curtis B. That was it. You gotta hit the button twice for it to detonate. And it makes a spread fire. Oh, that's awesome. We've also gotten a lot of change of the type of firepower you have in these kind of games, which all began with Space Invaders, and then now you get games where... Oh, I gotta come back from a missile. There we go. Oh, it missed! No! Like, the shots end up spreading into 3 or 2. Oh, don't get it! No! Oh, you got a piece of it, I guess? Okay, so it didn't blow it up all the way. But now I got my spread shot. I'm ready to rock. We've even had games that change with the firepower where you hold the button down to power up. Just little things to change the game experience of you're in space and you're going to shoot stuff. No, let me get it. I believe they're getting closer. Yeah, when they become comets, I can't shoot these guys. Alright, switching it up now. Let's see what happens. Alright, all clear. Let's see if there's another level of play. And nope, looks like it just gets the faster and faster route like most arcade games. But so fun, though. It has a good place for the golden age of arcade games. Terranean, wasn't even aware of that one. Part of the Deco cassette system. I'd say for all the games we played at the time, it's above average game. It's because it doesn't have alternate game modes like we've seen with other arcade games. I wouldn't push it any higher than 4, but a 4-star game for sure. There's Terranean. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. We're still in the arcades. Let's check out Thief in the arcade, starting with the advertisement flyer. We got 2 different ones. Oh, there we go. We were just talking about the movie poster video game. So this is by Pacific Novelty Manufacturing, and they made it look like a silent movie poster. G for general audiences. Isn't that nice? And they even have the date down at the bottom. And then we have another one that's by... Okay, so an alternate version of the box. They have different episodes of the game, it appears to be, with an example of the arcade cabinet. What is Thief? There's the arcade cabinet. Check out the speakers at the top of the cabinet. I wonder if this one was loud in the arcades. Hopefully it won't be too loud for us. There's our PCB, and for the control panel, we have a Thief on the run. Looks like possibly a 4-way joystick. 1 or 2 players. Oh, if it's just a joystick, it's probably a maze game, right? Yeah. So 4-way joystick. Don't even need an 8-way joystick. There's the example of the arcade marquee for Thief. Just Thief. We have a manual too, the owner-operator manual by Pacific Novelty. Does it tell us what the game is? Quick response chart setting. This looks like it's going to be only technical, not anything fun for us. Doesn't look like anything there. Controls moving in 4 directions. Up, down, left, and right. Care of the monitor. No. Care of the controls. No. It's all technical, so no fun there. I wanted a game concept at least. All right, we're going to the arcades to play some Thief. Released at some point in 1981 by Pacific Novelty. This is by Philip Lieberman. Way to go, Philip. There we go. Yeah, it's a top-down maze game. We got the artwork that we'd see around the CRT. There are 16 crime levels, it says. Pick up all dollar bills to advance to next level. All the dollar signs to make police cars red. Crash into red police cars to obtain extra points. And blue police cars ends the round. There we go. All right, so we saw the artwork. I'm going to zoom this in so we can see the screen a little bit better. There we go. All right, let's put a coin in and check out Thief. Wow. Anyone think of the color computer when you see that? I think that was greener than the color computer. All right, we're moving around. Get the dollar signs. Oh, it is a total Pac-Man ripoff. Because I'm just collecting all, instead of dots, I'm just getting all the money. Because I'm the thief. And you pick up a power pellet like in Pac-Man. Enemies turn a different color, run away from you. Bizarre choice for the colors around the outside. They just went for, let's do the most colorful thing possible, right? And there's a lot of money to pick up, too. Let's see if we can make this around here. Oh, gosh. Oh, no! I thought I'd double back, but I didn't pick up the dollar sign. So once again, we're running from the cops here on Chronologically Gaming. Is that the... Oh, okay, so we only got one left. I don't know how I'm going to collect all the other ones without any more ways to scare them off. Alright, we'll do this one. And go... It doesn't get you the points, but it keeps you safe to keep playing. What do you do? Do you play to move to the next level, or do you play to get as much points the high score? Oh, didn't even collect all the money. I love how the explosions of these video games keep making more impressive strides. I don't know how that guy dodged me. What in the world? All right, so now we move on to, oh, level 1. They called it a level. Completed. We have crime levels. And they switched it up. New map. Nice. But, I mean, come on. We're essentially playing Pac-Man. It's even smaller sprites than Pac-Man. That's true. Are we really thieves if we're just picking up the money off the side of the street? We should have been returning it to its rightful owners. Otherwise, we are a thief. Oh man, now I'm out of luck. Now it's down to the expertise of dodging. Can we do it? Oh my gosh, yeah, they are... I don't know if there's any different... They are the same speed as me. So when we play Pac-Man, not only are they changing up the artificial intelligence of the ghosts, crime doesn't pay. Game over. Man, is that red or what? We need the screen redder, quick. All right, let's put another coin in. I want to see the other game modes, but I bet we start back at the beginning. We don't continue where we left off. And no high score for this one either. I need to be paying attention to that. The games that let you save your high score with initials, or even more. There's been a couple arcade systems that allowed us to save our high score with 6 or 7 characters, which is awesome. So all the people out there named Winston, they can actually put their full name in. No, not going to get me. I got to get all this money. By the way, this isn't really a thief game. The game's called Thief, but we're really not a thief. We're not dodging or trying to hide from people. We're not being sneaky. We're right out here in the open, picking up bills on the ground. I'd say the better thief game would be Lupin the Third in the arcade, right? Oh gosh, I can't believe I made it through that. At least we're on an even playing field. The computer isn't cheating. Look, I got them all bunched together. That's cool. Yeah, they're not like going faster than me or anything like that. Crime level is loitering. So they give us different ratings on how bad we're doing. And we obviously have some of the sound not coming in correctly. I'm sure there's an explosion there, but it hasn't been emulated all the way. Who knew that Thief in the arcade didn't get any love, so a programmer didn't work on it? Very cool. All right, so that was Thief. For the arcade games we played at the time, it's okay. For a Pac-Man variant, it's all right. Pac-Man would be... You gotta remember, we're in a world that Mrs. Pac-Man doesn't exist. There is only Pac-Man. While we've seen lots of different clones and variations on the computer, in the arcade there's been a few, but they switch it up a lot better. I'm looking at you, Lock and Chase. I'm looking at you, Mousetrap, things like that. So it's... I'd still say it's about average for the time, for all the games we played. So 3 stars for Thief. It's an excellent maze game, but it's not doing anything good or bad. There you go. So a perfectly average game for anything else. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. It's another Thief game. We read about this one in Softline magazine. Let's check out Thief for the Apple II. Starting with the box. Front of the box. Thief. Damn things nearly killed me. It's you against rampaging robots. 7 levels of action and excitement to become the galaxy's master thief. $30 for the Apple II. For the disc. And then here's our advertising flyer. We've played every game on the advertising flyer. I kind of like to tip my hat when I see an advertising flyer of a company and everything that's displayed there we've played. Well, except Casino, but that's the usual. We're not going to play games that are going to be gambling based. If it's a card game, though, it might be interesting. But Snack Attack, County Fair, and now Thief. We completed the whole set. There's the example of the 5 1/4 floppy disk. Almost said 3 1/2. Not yet. 5 1/4 floppy disk by Bob Flanagan. And it looks like a Berserk variant. We have the manual, too. Oh, I love Berserk. Put the disc in your disk drive, turn the power on. Before you begin, center your joystick and paddles. Yes, we get a joystick for this. That's great. Joysticks recommended, and we're definitely using the Apple joystick. Laser fire cannot go through walls, as you will be destroyed by any contact with any walls or the robot. Object is to get a high score as possible by destroying as many robots as you can. Yes! A arcade game on your Apple II. Who knew? You can destroy a robot while waiting for them to touch the walls. The third method is allow robots to destroy themselves, like they can shoot each other. Fire lasers at each other. And then once you get 2,000, you get an extra man. Okay, it looks like there's not anything different or changed. Yeah, with the game, it looks like Berserk on the Apple II. But I mean, Thief. Sorry, Thief. All right, let's pop in and play Thief for the Apple II, released at some point in 1981. Love these. It's like the precursor of a run-and-gun shooter. We want to load Thief. There are quite a bit of games that I had to find on compilations that people had saved themselves for Apple II. We'll see a lot in 1982 because the having individual discs to get to load is really tricky, especially with a copy protection. Okay, Thief, hit any key to start. Does the joystick work for any key? Okay, we'll use keyboard. All right, now joystick, go. Yes. Oh, so cool. Look at that. Whoa, the controls are really nice for the Apple II. Okay, so where's Evil Otto? Where is he? Where's the bouncing happy face? Oh my gosh, he is so freaky now on the Apple II. So they did everything. Now, where's the talking? I don't think we're going to get that. We've played home computer versions of Berserk variants that had the talking, just like in the arcade. I need to leave a room because they're supposed to say chicken fight like a robot. I don't think we're going to get it, though. All right, looks like these guys are going to shoot back. So what happens if I hold the button down? Looks like I'm doing the wave at a... or doing dance moves. So if you hold the button down, it aims where you want to go, and then when you let go, that's where it fires. Oh, let's get out of here. Evil Otto can kill him too? Nice. Thanks, Evil Otto. You're not so evil after all, are you? Oh, and the walls don't hurt them. Do they hurt me? Yeah, they do. Now, we played in this year, 1981, was Silas Warner's Castle Wolfenstein. And that game was taking cues from Berserk, where you touch the walls and you get electrocuted, but in fantastic fashion. It would make the whole screen flicker. And this game, I was expecting the screen to go nuts whenever you hit the walls, but no, it just does just does a little tiny flicker and you're dead, just like the other enemies. So another game that we are a thief, but we're really not a thief. Am I stealing anything in this game? I don't think so. We even read the manual. The manual didn't say we're stealing anything. Oh man, am I excited when we get to Thief for the PC, but that's going to be probably 40 to 50 years from now. By next year, my calculations for 1982, we're going to be playing games for an entire year to get through all 2,400 or 2,500 games. Possibly, if I go on the same rate I'm going now. All right, yeah, so that's Thief. For home computer variants, it's okay for Berserk. Not doing anything super impressive for 1981, but it is fun, a good time. It is only a one-player game. So for the everything else we've seen to this point, I'd still say about 3 stars for Thief. We've seen better Berserk variants than this one, but perfectly good enough for 1981. All right, so there you go. That's where we're going to put our video game playing on pause. So many games to play, having a lot of fun in 1981. Really excited for 1982. That's it for this evening. And like I always say, whether it's VTech or Dick Smith Wizard, the Creativision is an awesome console. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.